Diffuser Spotlight.
All right, we're here today with Jordan Fairless of Big Deep. Jordan, thank you so much for joining us on Diffuser. Where are you today? Where are we talking to you today?
I am in my home studio in Woodstock, New York.
Excellent. And we want to talk to you a little bit about Big Deep and get to know you a little bit more so we can expose who you are in Big Deep to our audience and just get to know you a little bit better. So talk to me about that moment when you and Luke we're in that coffee shop in Woodstock. Like, talk to me about that a little bit. Like, what was the genesis? How did it come to be?
Well, I saw Luke out playing with his band in town, one of his bands at the time. He's been in a lot of projects, but anyways, I saw his guitar playing, and we had crossed paths a couple times and decided to go get coffee in town at Bread Alone. And we just kind of started talking, and I had been off the road for quite a little while, and then gotten the idea that I was ready to get a new project going after my time with Spafford came to a close. And I don't know, Luke and I just really hit it off. There's some people that you can sit down and start talking and you lose track of time, and that happened to happen between Luke and myself, where we were just going to talk for 30 minutes, maybe an hour. We ended up there for over 2 hours. And it's kind of continued like that. Like, we have to, wrap our meetings up, try to stay on target, because we could just sit and talk about ideas and music and everything that two people could get lost in creatively. And so it just kind of started from there. And then we set a tradition from that point and had a lot more meetings at coffee shops, and have continued to take it from that first meeting to now, looking at the first shows and getting ready to put the album out. So, but it all started there that day in those 2 hours at that coffee shop.
Incredible. And no better place than a coffee shop in Woodstock. It sounds amazing. I mean, you spent years, over a decade on the road, and decided to come off the road and kind of recharge the creative juices. So talk to us a little bit about that and how you were ready. You became ready, and then the creativity just started to flow in. Talk a little bit about how did you readjust after being on the road for over a decade?
2014, we embarked on the first tour with Spafford. I put all my stuff into a storage unit and just hit the road for the summer. Then from there, kind of the rest is history until 2024. So it was literally 10 years of varying scale over the years, but towards the end, nearing 150 shows a year, and just really
Wow.
doing a lot of touring, and then taking now essentially a 2-year break. And a car accident can be a very impactful event in a lot of different ways. And there's been a lot of ups and downs over the last 2 years, but ultimately it did allow time and space for me to really connect here, where I've now been for about 5 years in Woodstock. And also just reconnecting with my own family, with myself, and then the creative energy that poured out as a result of having that break and playing for so long, to where it just became so routine. And still, music is what I live and breathe. But after 10 years, it was a little refreshing to have a break, although it would have been nice under different circumstances. It was now the idea of returning to traveling and playing again, and just creating and writing, and getting back into the studio and unleashing that part of myself and experiencing it with new people in a new surrounding and setting with a new perspective. It's just a very refreshing experience coming back into it. And now looking at touring and going back out and seeing familiar faces, but also meeting all the new people that will inevitably, hopefully, show up for this music. And Big Deep is an exciting new chapter for me and for Luke and for everybody that's joined up now. Kevin, our keyboard player, is just amazing, and he has his own connections to this area and things that have happened over the years. But there's just a renewed energy and perspective and gratitude, I think, for music and what it represents in my own life, and for everybody that's involved, and the fun that touring can be. Excited to just get back out and play music and get back to some of the places that I got used to seeing every year.
I love that, Jordan, so much. How did you settle on Woodstock? Did you always have a connection to Woodstock, or is it something you discovered? How did you end up there 5 years ago?
My wife is a native New Yorker and spent her summers around here with her family, her mom being both from the city and then having her parents be from the Hudson Valley area. So when we were looking at getting married 5 years ago and what we were going to do, being in Arizona at the time, I spent 15 years of my life in Arizona and a good amount of time out there. I'm looking at where we wanted to kind of settle and end up. For her, it was kind of a no-brainer. And after my own visits, starting to come here back in 2017, I guess, I started visiting the Hudson Valley area and kind of fell in love. So it just kind of made sense that like we would come back and settle here and get married and end up in Woodstock. So we found an apartment in Woodstock from across the country, just looking around while we were still in Phoenix, and settled in there before we got married in 2021. And we've just kind of been here since and grown more and more into just kind of really feeling like we made the right decision, that this is the right place to kind of be for where everything and the energies that are building around here and where life was pointed, that this was, there's just a lot of really great history and also new things that are happening around here. And with her connection to the area and everything else, it was, it was an interesting move going from the desert to the middle of the woods in New York. But ultimately the right move and a different and equally incredible place to wind up. So we've been here for 5 years now, and I don't think we're looking at leaving here anytime soon.
That's great. So good when it just makes sense, when it just feels right, for sure, which is great. So let's talk about Big Deep. I've spent some time at Eclipse. I've spent some time with the Bearsville show. Indie rock with an expansive groove is what I read is a good description. But I got to tell you, like, Big Deep seems like the right name because deep in the pocket is where this band seems to live. Is that what you're going for? Just being in the pocket, feeling the groove, feeling the vibe, and letting the song take you, where you want to go. Talk to me about that.
I think so. I think you nailed it, and that's the ultimately, I guess, a good summary for myself as the bass player that I am, but also songwriter and listener. That like I just love a good groove and a nice melody, and a lot of our focus on the songwriting was in taking a more melodic approach and sort of changing up how we might have traditionally used the underlying chords in the past and being able to outline things with synthesizers or vocals and then find ways to incorporate that into the improv. There's like a power behind a steady groove and a pleasing repetitive melody. And they could be improvised and inspired by. But yeah, just having a real focus on being able to get lost in the groove and keeping it moving. And we'll find our space into exploration and all kinds of other stuff. But ultimately the focus is the groove. And I think that's a good place to be.
Definitely. So what's next for Big Deep? When do you have some gigs we can come check out? When can we expect some new music? Talk to us about that, and then I have one personal question, and then we'll wrap.
So we recorded our album here at Bearsville, Utopia Studios Bearsville, over the course of the winter and the early spring, and it's just about ready to start releasing. So our first single is going to be coming out sometime in the next few weeks, and we'll be releasing the full album towards the end of the summer. And we will have our first show announcements coming up really soon. And yeah, we'll be starting to get out there in the fall. So we're got a bunch of things that we're working on, and all of these things are getting ready to start up very soon. So we'll be Excellent. A lot of announcements coming up in the next few weeks here.
Great. Keep us posted. Now, here's a question I have for you. What's one artist that I have never heard of that I probably should?
One artist, let's see. I'm going to try to think here. So there is a song, and it's called Moon Sailing, and it's by an artist, and her name is it's Jaie, is the name of the artist. So the name of the song is Moon Sailing, and the artist is Jaie. You have to check out the song and then check her out to really, if you want to talk about a deep groove, check out Moon Sailing by Jay.
On it.
And I'll throw that. So I had to pull it out of the brain. I'm like, I could hear the song in there. I know it's in there. I got to think of the artist name and the track name. But check it out. Yeah, it's a good one.
I got it. Mood Sailing by Jaie. I am on it. Thank you so much. And thank you so much for spending time. Look forward to seeing the show live and look forward to sharing all the new music with the Diffuser team and the Diffuser crowd. And I appreciate the time, Jordan.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Matt.
Diffuser Spotlight.
Your backstage pass to the future of what's next.